inquiry under like a nature and kind of doing some practical projects. But now I think it's much more fun to me to kind of thinking the abstract stuff.
Yeah, in that case, you can definitely consider the math major as at least a double major, right? So that you can try to enjoy those core subjects. It takes time to get used to writing the statements mathematically, I mean rigorously. And at the same time, there are lots of things that one student should learn. But either directions that either you might go to the eventual math graduate school to develop your career as a mathematician, or you might try to just apply your advanced mathematical knowledge to the applied field. It's up to you.
Yeah.
So you will not lose anything as long as you are interested in doing mathematics, so that you can try to take lots of classes as much as you can.
Yeah.
And you do not need to decide at this point, right? Because your interest might be changed depending on what you
Yeah,
will
yeah,
learn, right?
yeah.
So.
But like how mathematics just like it can be applied to any field like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and usually it is really challenging to do the math major as a double major, right? So
Yeah.
that's the one reason that people actually wish to do that, but it's really hard because it takes lots of energy and also the time, I should say. But as long as you're interested in, yeah, definitely can consider it. Yeah.
Yeah, like first I think like I might be capable and might like kind of might be strengths in like kind of doing some practical like design, like something on hand stuff, like I had some like robotic competitions during high school and engaged
Cool.
in some like research project like in so I'm from China, like some university in China, like a research assistant. Yeah, but now I think kind of my passion, like I didn't show much passion to those like this stuff as I did before, and I just kind of considering, yeah.
Claire, you are just a beginner. So
Yeah,
there
yeah.
are tons of things that you can try, right?
Yeah.
And I should say, so while you're trying to taking the math core subjects, okay,
Yeah.
at the same time you can try to investigate the other directions as well. There should be also something that you might be really interested in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's just kind of so you have like kind of applied to US PhD program from Korean university for undergraduate.
So I applied the PhD program while I was working in the company,
Oh.
and I just applied it in the United States
Oh.
because I had some mathematical community that I want to learn the mathematics perspective from this community. So it's because in my case I wanted to study certain differential geometry,
Yeah.
and there's a I should say the emperor in the China, so of the geometry called Professor Xing Tong Yao. Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to learn the geometry from his community, so that I decided to apply the school that I can learn from one of his students.
Oh.
Yeah, so that I learned from him around 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, he's very popular figure in China.
Yeah.
I've read his like kind of some like non-mathematical prose. Yeah. So very versatile and like not only to put in math but also like I read some of his like classical Chinese literature work.
Yep.
So you now like kind of like migrate to US? Do you want to
Yes,
stay?
I'm the first generation of the migration from the South Korea.
So would it be hard to like kind of so I'm also considering kind of like stay at US. I'm not sure like how you.
Whether or not it's quite challenging or not?
Yeah.
It is extremely challenging
Yeah.
because which means that as long as one consider to develop their career in the academia,
Yeah.
then first you should be able to get the PhD offer from the United States, which should be some decent schools, right?
Yeah.
So in order to be competitive with the others. At the same time, so after you enter the reasonable graduate schools, so that you need to prove your capability in front of the senior mathematicians, right? Whether or not you can really
Yeah.
proceed your own research program.
Yeah.
And it's not the program that you can build in 1 or 2 years. It's the lifelong journey, I should say. So it takes around more than 10 years, I should say, at this point for the beginner of the undergraduate. But it's definitely doable as long as one is sincere enough to work hard.
So does it mean like kind of someone pay equal efforts but just can get stay at US like due to some luck, some opportunity, I don't know, like.
It's extremely competitive to achieve such a position, So in the over average level of the capability for seeking such a position, they might not be able to get such a position in the United States. I should say for sure.
Yeah.
But if one work really hard, yeah, it should be possible. You already know the reality when you enter the universities, right? So such a reality should be the same.
Okay, yeah, thank you for it. Yeah, I really enjoy your lecture. Like, I think you present the material in a very clear and structured way, and better than my like CCA teacher. Like, yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks. Yeah, my pleasure.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you.
Hi.
Hey.
I just had some questions about the homework. There was,
You mean in the fabric?
yeah. There's just some things I didn't understand. Hang on.
Sure. Take your time.
How do we get the interval without graphing it? How would we find that?
You mean number 1, right?
Yeah, number 1.
So the perspective for such a problem is the practicing with the separate equations basically. So
Okay.
that the very first thing that we need to ask ourselves is that which type of the equation. So at this point we just learned the separate equation, so
Yeah.
the typing is super clear. But the way of the view this is that so we can just divide by y here so that we can make it to be d. So let me know if you have any questions or comments.
Okay.
So dy over y is already clear, and if I put the all other terms into the other side, then we will get dt over t squared minus 14t plus 24. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So that we want to say this equation is indeed well established. What I mean is that, so what we know is that if you look at like so let me write down over here. So yeah, this question matters. So if you look at the ratio, say a over b, okay? So here we assume a and b are some numbers. Is that clear? So those should be eventually some numbers. But in order to define such a rational number, so there's a restriction on the denominator.
Yeah.
We need to require this to be what? Should be non-zero.
Yeah, so
Because if this becomes 0, for example, if you consider 1 over 0, if you multiply by 0, then you can cancel those two to make it to be 1. But at the same time, if you multiply by some number by 0, then it should be 0. So 0 should be equal to 1. That's not
Okay.
possible. So that we always exclude the case the denominator becomes 0.
okay, so we're just solving that.
So that because this
polynomial.
behave as a denominator,
Okay.
so that if you try to solve it, then you should factorize this as a t minus 2 times t minus 12, right?
Okay, so just factor.
Cannot be 0, yeah.
And then to check and make sure that t would be inside rather than on either the
Mhm.
right and the left, we would just like plug in a number and
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay. Got it. And then I think I had a question on 7 as well.
Find the value of the k so that it becomes the solution. So what's your question?
I think it was why does c go into the natural log when we or something like that. Hang on. Yeah, I think maybe it was k. Like why does
So that
this,
the first thing
yeah.
that you should know is that this is the typical type of the separate equation. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So that you should put those two into the other side and try to just simplify it. Then you should be able to get the form of the x that's a function of t. Is that clear? Did you do that?
Yeah, I did all that and I solved it all the way to the general solution.
Let me look at it.
But why? Because then for my answer, like, isn't it just on the other side that we solved? like for x and just kind of totally exclude the whole function of t? Because isn't it for that one it would be -7/4 for that answer for k? Like, I don't understand why we don't need to do any of the separating to actually get the answer. Or if I just completely did it a wrong way.
Just hang on. So suppose you have the following equation. So Ln of the absolute value of a. So if you have the Ln of a is equal to b,
Okay.
and you want to eliminate the natural log,
Okay.
then what about the right hand side here?
It would be e to the b. Yeah.
Right? So those are the same.
Yeah.
So that you got the natural log in the left hand side,
Yeah.
and this is your right hand side.
Mhm.
So that you wanted to eliminate the natural log.
Yeah.
So that you need to put what?
The e to the ln of or e.
Yeah,
all
e to
that,
the,
yeah.
right? So this is not,
Okay.
yeah, this is one reason. So you will get x equals to exponent e to the something, right?
Yeah.
That's the expression that you will get. Then
But that's not what that's not how I found my answer that was right though. Is because I gave up on trying to do that. And I
yeah,
got,
so
okay.
the trick for this problem is the following. So that by solving the separate equation, you will get what? You will get the general solution.
Yeah.
That should be has the form as a e to the something, right?
With the c, yeah.
But the problem is that that's not the solution that this problem was asking.
Yeah.
So what did we learn from the lecture? As long as the solution is not looked as the general solution, that should be the singular solution.
Okay.
So for example, you can simply just plug in this form into the equation as this one should be the solution, right?
Mhm.
Then as long as this is the just constant function, so this k does not depend on the choice of the t. This is a constant function. The taking derivative gives us the 0. Is that clear?
Okay. So.
So this should be just nothing but 0.
Okay, so when we separate all that and do
It's not even the separation, so
Oh.
that this just becomes now 0. So just
why?
dx over
Because-
dt becomes what?
0 in the
0.
derivative. Okay.
Yeah, so that this whole term should be just nothing but vanish.
Okay.
So that you will get minus 4k minus 7 equals to 0. That's it.
Oh, okay.
And this should be the singular solution.
Okay, so that's okay. So then, if we know what the problem is asking, we wouldn't have to even separate them.
This
like
problem, in this case, yes.
Okay, that's where I was confused.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think I had one more question.
Mhm.
Or two more actually. I think I just. Okay. So the singular solution then is just when it's 0?
Not really.
No.
So the type of the solutions for the first order, so that there's a general solution that depends on the which recipe that we apply. So there must be the certain type of the ODE, and then we apply certain recipe. From there, we'll determine the general solution. The
Okay.
singular solution is the exception from those recipes, so that
Okay.
there should be still the possible solution that is not appearing from the recipe of the general solution.
Okay, so if we get a general solution and somewhere in solving it we get that C cannot equal 1,
For example,
the
yes.
singular solution
For
would be
such a
what
case,
if
yeah.
C equal, or,
Yep.
okay.
Yep.
And then the particular solution would be if we were to plug in,
We have the additional condition so that there is
Yeah.
no ambiguity, so that we can determine
Okay.
unique solution.
and that condition wouldn't be, it could be like,
So
y
it's just
cannot
the
equal
additional
another?
condition. So we might just put the function value
Yeah.
as some input value, or we might just ask the derivative, for example. So we will just put additional condition, just that's it. Then it will
Okay.
determine the ambiguous constancy to be just unique.
Okay, and then that would not have a C in it because it's
No,
particular.
yes.
Okay. And then for the, could we just go over the other type of way to solve the fractional decomposition that you taught us? I think it was 1 over b minus a.
So what's your confusion for that?
What do we do with in the parentheses the 1 over a minus 1 over b? Because when I did it, I kept getting the answer on the outside. So what's the point of even doing it? Doing the math inside the parentheses on the other side, like does that have a purpose or?
So as I explained, so if we have this
Yeah.
description, so that we will write two pieces. One is 1 over b minus a. So the b minus a itself is the term for denominator for this expression.
Okay.
And we will multiply over here, and we will take this subtraction between a and between the s denominator and take the subtraction here. So this is just the identity, so that if we just take the common denominator in this expression, then we will get a times b,
Okay.
and then we will
Yeah.
get b minus a accordingly, so that we can cancel those b minus a together,
Okay.
that we will recover the same expression as here.
Okay.
And another expression that I explained is that, for example, if we get this one,
Yeah.
so that we can definitely apply this method by looking regarding this as capital A and capital B. This is already clear. Is it clear?
Mhm.
But at the same time, the idea is that we need to look at each denominator and take the expression in this manner. Okay, so this is the common technique we call the fractional decomposition.
Yeah.
And then we
With
will
the A
simply
over
just
the B,
put
okay.
capital A and capital B. Those A and B are different, so
Yeah.
that's just general one. And those A and B are some numbers.
Yes.
Okay, those are some numbers. And we want to determine the corresponding capital A and capital B in this case.
Yeah.
So the way of doing is that we need to understand this equation properly. So we are saying this equality for any choice of x. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So whatever x value that we plug in, so this must be the equality. So that in order to determine capital A and B, we will multiply by this denominator, common denominator, which is x minus a times x minus b. So that we'll get 1 is equal to a times x minus b plus b times x minus a.
Okay.
Right? But again, this is the equation that holds for any choice of the x. So that we will, for example, choose the proper x values to determine a and b. So that I just choose two values. When x is equal to b, the purpose is to kill this term to determine the
Okay.
corresponding b. So that left hand side is still equal to 1, but this guy is equal to b times b minus a. And a and b are already given numbers, so that we can determine corresponding capital B. And if I plug in x equal to a, then now I can kill this guy. But still the left hand side is equal to 1, so that I will get a times a minus b. So from here, we will determine corresponding numbers. Capital B is given as 1 over b minus a. Capital A is given as 1 over a minus c. And that's it. We just
Okay.
need to replace. But you can apply either one. as you
Okay.
prefer.
Then I think my further question is what purpose does besides like canceling out to make it like the equation hold, what does the 1 over a
Reason
minus
is
1
quite
over
clear.
b?
So for example, so this method, this decomposition was appearing when we solved the separate equation, right?
Yeah.
So for example, we'd like to take the integration of the such a form, but the point is, as long as we need to handle the integration, we need to know the form of the antiderivative. For such a case, we have no idea what's
Yeah.
the antiderivative that gives this one.
We're
But
splitting it.
if we, whatever method that we apply, then we will get such a, like the decomposition theory.
Mhm.
So once we write in this manner,
Yeah.
then we can now in this split those two into two pieces, and each cases we know what the antiderivative should be,
Yeah.
so that we can handle the integration. That's the reason.
Okay. So, but if we were to solve, like if we were to plug this into this, wouldn't it just
So your output should be the same as the decomposition, right? Because
Okay.
when you just treat this, for example, as capital A over here, and this is quite confusing, but let me
Yeah.
use the tilde, for example, b tilde, okay?
Mhm.
And I just regard this expression as a 1 over a tilde times b tilde. Then according to this identification, then we need to take b tilde minus a tilde in this denominator.
Okay.
So when you take the subtraction, then x are the common terms,
Okay.
so that we can cancel those two x, so that you will get this expression, right?
Yeah.
So that we can cancel those two.
Okay.
So it just becomes a number. So eventually you will get the same expression.
So then we just get that
Yeah.
number. So then
Yeah,
what
some
is-
number that
some-
corresponds to this one.
Yeah, some number here, and then
So we
because we
also
get two
just want to
numbers.
look at the expression, so that
Yeah. Can we try it with real numbers maybe?
let me just give you the expression. So
Okay.
that you just need to apply the identification over here, so that you will get this one, degree.
Yeah.
Then we cancel this one,
Okay.
and you will get over minus b plus a, which is already the number.
Okay. And then the other one.
and you get this expression, and you can check that this expression should be same with the fraction decomposition that we got. So that
Okay.
we just get the number and still we just split those two into two pieces and then we can proceed the calculation.
Okay, so then the first one outside the parentheses
It's
is-
equal to, in this case, capital A, so that you can see that it corresponds
Okay.
to 1 over A minus B, right?
Yeah, and then where's capital B?
Capital B is 1 over B minus A, and there's a negative sign already there, right?
Uh-huh.
So that by multiplying negative 1 over there, then you will get 1 over B minus A. So that you will distribute this term over here.
Okay.
This corresponds to B, and there's a positive sign here.
Wait, which one corresponds to B? The in the
So this
parentheses?
expression here, this is our capital B, right?
Mhm.
And this one times negative 1 corresponds to B.
Oh, always?
So I'm just saying that if you have, for example, like P of like the Q plus R, same, then we can always distribute in this
Yeah.
manner so that you will get PQ plus PR.
Okay.
Is that clear? So that we have the some number, so that we need to distribute this into two pieces. So first piece corresponds to capital A over X minus A, because capital A corresponds to 1 over A minus B.
Okay.
Got it? And once we distribute this term to the second term, then there's a negative sign here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it becomes 1 over B minus A, which is this.
Got it. Okay, I think I was confused with. Okay, because it's the same number that we would just kind of be plugging.
So whatever
into
method
A
you
for
say,
N.
usually need to obtain the same
Okay.
one. Yeah.
And then for the second one, I've been doing it a little bit differently, where I multiply.
Yeah, it's up to you. Yeah, as long as
okay.
you determine capital A and capital B, whatever
Okay.
number you
As
plug
long-
in, it doesn't
okay.
matter.
And then this is what will you mentioned this will be on the quiz.
Yep.
Okay. And then is there anything else we need for the quiz from
So
like
for each
prior?
quizzes, one need to review the examples of the lecture notes and
Okay.
also some of the Weber problems, but it's not that heavy.
Okay, but we won't need anything else from prior
That's all,
calculus?
that's all,
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. Thank you
Sure.
so much. That makes a lot more sense. Have a good rest of your day.
You too. See you.